Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon to you. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking something nasty. It's a smoothie
It looks good.
that I mean it's real healthy, you know. It's
Yeah.
just it looks like garbage, smells like garbage.
I've seen worse looking smoothies.
Yeah, me too. I've tasted worse too. It's you know, the Vitamix just busts everything down.
Yeah,
And,
those are great.
down to the atoms. You get to just, you know.
That's
so,
good. That's good. Try not
tons
to
of
get
stuff.
the quarantine 15 over here. It's challenging.
Ha! Quarantine 50.
Quarantine 50. I
And
know.
I am good with that.
Good.
I'm eating everything.
Oh yeah, I know. What else? It's just like eating it to where I'm eating my feelings is what I've been doing.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Yeah. How are you holding up?
I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
As you can see by my hair.
I like it. I dig it. Why not?
You know, we're just bored in the house, you know, doing things.
Yeah.
No, I mean, all the emotions, of course, but doing my best to, you know, just continue to breathe and do what I need to do to take care of myself and our household. So, how are you? Yeah.
Same, you know, we're only a minute in. We already have $105 for our fundraiser. I just want to say, thank you for donating.
Money.
That's
This
awesome.
is the money tree behind us too.
Is that your money tree?
Yeah, this is the money tree. It's called "It's That Dirty Money." That's what I've named it.
Gotcha. Gotta get me one of those.
Yeah. It's flourishing right now. It's got some new leaves going on. I'm excited.
I love it. It's doing its job.
Yeah. Somebody has to.
So obviously, you know, I can't wait to talk to you about so many things. It's been so long since we've seen each other and since we've gotten to talk, and you've done so many amazing things, and I'm so excited to talk about your time on Dear White People. Okay. But, you know, we have a lot of actors watching, actors to strive to be in your place.
Don't shoot for me.
Really. So just to kind of take it back a little bit and talk about your, you know, beginning of your career, your journey, kind of go back to you. You've been acting for a long time, right?
Yeah. I'm almost ashamed how long I've been acting. I started when I was 4.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, started when I was 4. But I just like, because I was born in San Diego, and then
I didn't know that either. I'm from San Diego too.
Here we go. The more we know.
Yeah.
My parents would drive up from San Diego to LA for auditions and whatnot, and I just, you know, did like a lot of commercials, and it was a cool way to just make some money. And, help my family at times, and then my junior year. Yeah, my junior year, I was at USC. I was at USC for all of my, you know, my college time.
Okay.
Junior year was the first TV show that I booked. It was like Seventh Heaven and the Bernie Mac show. It was, you know, co-star situation, but booked those the same week. So comedy, drama, and then that kind of set me up for, you know, what's going on today, which is half comedy, half drama, and all the things.
Do you have a preference?
A preference. I mean, to be honest, story is what drives me. So story above anything. I'll do anything if the story is there, and if it makes sense and how I can fit as a part of the puzzle. Yeah. But I love comedy. So, you know, did the ranks at UCB, all the improv and all those things. I mean, I just love to have fun.
I love watching actors have fun too. I think you can tell. It's just like their heart is like beaming, and it's just the best thing in the world. Yeah. You know? Okay, so you went to USC for theater?
No, I was there for public policy, planning, management, and business.
Really? And so acting was kind of just in the back of your mind at that point, and you were there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it just felt like, you know, a hobby for me growing up. And I thought I was going to work for Deloitte and Touche and be a consultant, or, you know, how people on TV, always see somebody on TV working in marketing, and having charts and stuff in the back end with pie graphs and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, I want to do that.
I want to do that.
I want to do that.
Exactly how it is.
Yeah, exactly, just like that. And so I really didn't consider acting or entertainment as a career until those first TV jobs. And I was working with Bernie Mac, and we were having a conversation. Well, we were in between takes, and he was like, who found you, or who is this? Like, talking about me. It was like, he said, he's phenomenal. I said, come on now. Come on. But, it was just like a little seed that was planted in my brain that, oh, maybe I could actually keep going.
Yeah.
And so looking back, I look back on all the dots and connect the dots and all these little seeds that were planted that
kept you going.
They kept me going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and to be honest, I mean, when I was graduating from SC, there was an opportunity to take this internship for free at a management company.
Okay.
So I was broke at the time, and I decided to stay here and take the internship at this management company. Told them I was an actor, but I wasn't here for that. I just wanted to be behind the scenes.
Right.
Because, I promise. But it was it was like grad school for me, because I got to learn the business, or that aspect of the business. Yeah. And then one of the managers there used to work at Overbrook Entertainment, which was Will Smith's production company. So he sent my resume over there, and so I was interning there for a couple of years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was like grad school for me. And not just like getting coffee. It was reading scripts and pitching ideas in meetings, and having to have a voice to say something. Yeah. So I mean, it was like grad school for me, and it inspired me to, one, keep going. Yeah. Two, do my own shit.
Yeah. Did you have any interest to do your own stuff? I mean, did you write at all, or
Yes. Did the screenwriting program at UCLA. Okay. Extension program. And then after working at Overbrook, a couple of friends, we had a group, we made like sketch videos, and they were shit.
I bet they weren't, though.
They were trash. I have hidden them. They are buried.
Oh no.
But it was that was also such a valuable experience, because one, we were producing, we were getting things done by any means necessary. It was all guerrilla style, and it it's just another mentality of like, do it. So
gotta do it.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first job?
Yes.
What was that like for you?
I had a ball. I was 4 years old. Of course.
You remember that when you were 4? Wow.
Yeah, it was a cable commercial, and I had a big ass head. Actually, let me show you something. The head is still here, of course.
My God.
But
it's goes to show you remember a lot as a kid, man.
I remember lots of things, but not so much now, because weed.
Oh, stop it!
But this is
that face should not. That face is too cute to grace the screen. I can't even handle it.
Yeah, big head, still the same size.
Oh my God.
To scale. But
love it.
Yeah, cable commercial, and that's where I got my addiction to breakfast burritos on set.
Probably from being in San Diego too.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
I know.
I love it. Yeah, that's funny.
That's awesome. I don't know if you remember, I actually met you during an audition for Colony.
Colony, yeah, absolutely. And
I think I remember the role. I think it was like a teacher role.
I don't remember the role, but I do remember Colony.
My memory used to be a lot better before kids, but but that's like a perfect example. I don't know. It was Erica and I in that room. I don't know if she knew before. I didn't. And it's one of those scenarios where you hear actors say, book the room, not the role, which is exactly what you did, because you made such a lasting impression from that audition. I was like, we just kept trying to find ways,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, that was 2015 or something like that.
Yeah. Was that on the CBS lot?
Radford, yeah.
Radford, yeah. I remember that. It was hot as hell.
It was
I remember
so
sweating.
hot.
Wow.
Yeah. But it leaves an impression, you know, and then you came in for a short that my producing friend was producing, and those are things that like I don't forget, you know, and you were just so gracious and humble to be there, and everyone just to this day doesn't stop raving about you, and I'm not surprised.
They never told me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then I was so the Tell Me Your Secrets thing was interesting because we had been reading that role forever. I don't know if you know the story behind that.
Oh no.
Because it was interesting because you were now at this place where you were offer only, which is like very nice. And I want to talk a little bit about that and what that's like for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Is Jessica watching right now? Because I don't know if I can tell this story.
Tell it. We'll tell it all. Tell the truth.
I'll try to do it in the way that the studios won't hate me.
I have no guarantees for myself.
Yeah.
I'll do my best too.
I'll try to. I'll make it PG, I guess.
Okay.
But no, it's fine. It's just we have been reading this role forever, and you like immediately popped in my head for it. But you had the show. You had Dear White People, you know, and so it's one of those situations that. Which I love your agent, by the way. You know, Jacob's great, and I respect him. And he was like, "Oh, he's not available. He's on Dear White People," and I was like, "Nope, nope, nope." He literally just wrote us an email that said he's not available, and I said no. And it's like that just doesn't happen. I mean, he's like, you don't. And then they were like, never gonna happen. You want him for like every episode of Tell Me Your Secrets. I was like, we're gonna work it out, you know. So Jacob hated me, I'm pretty sure.
Shit. Wow.
And I forced him to talk to Netflix, and they were so cool about it.
Yeah, they were.
So cool about it. I've only had the pleasure of working with them twice, and I don't know what your experience is like, but it's always been just a golden experience. And then it just magically happens. It just goes to show. No one ever except no, you know, dig a little deeper.
Yes, dig deeper.
Yeah. And so how was that for you? I mean, New Orleans just looked like so you were having a blast.
I had a ball. I'm still paying for it. A lot of eating, a lot of drinking.
You were giving me serious food because
that's all I do. I mean, that was the thing. I was like, oh, New Orleans. Sign me up. It don't even matter what the script is.
The food is insane. I know.
Food first, then story,
then
character, then money.
Can we move this scene because there's a special at Commander's Palace?
Yeah, you know, I love to be there. But I had a ball. I love working in New Orleans. That was, to be honest, that was an interesting experience for me in the sense that I was, you know, a little apprehensive about it at first. Coming off of, or, you know, working with Dear White People, and then the different characters and whatnot that I've portrayed, I guess, or explored. I wanted to make sure that the character, I don't know if you're aware, there's a stereotype of Uncle Tom, if that makes sense. And, you know, I loved the script, and, you know, there wasn't much for me to know about the character, and so, you know, I had the conversation with Harriet, who's the creator and showrunner and whatnot. But I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't that. Totally
valid point.
You know?
Question. Yeah.
So being that I did love the story, and I had a conversation with Harriet and other folks and whatnot, still it was my intention on set to make sure that if I saw any kind of like, that I would have to say something.
Good. Yeah.
You know, and there were times I was like, I don't know if this, you know, I was like, it can't be. This is 2000, what was that? 2018, maybe somewhere 2018. Yeah. I was like, there's no possible way that this is that. His name is Tom. Yeah. There's no way. No,
oh my God. That's so interesting. That never. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. And so there were a couple of things that I spoke up on, and then a couple of things that, you know, passed, and, you know, who knows, but I had a good time, and it was a learning experience for me as well to, you know, be vocal and that images matter.
Yes.
And projection of stereotypes matter. I mean, I've done a lot of things in the past that I wouldn't do today. And so, but that's just the evolution of, you know, myself as a person. And, you know, when you know more, you do better, and et cetera.
Yeah. I think actors are often afraid to speak up, you know, because I mean, for them, there's so much, it seems like there's so much pressure. And I think, you know, I've talked to a lot of actors who are, you see articles where people just like get fired like that, but it's generally because they like kick the director, or like, which I would know firsthand, unfortunately. You know, but speaking up, I think makes you a better actor, a more powerful actor, and a 100% more respectable actor. And I'm glad you brought that up, because whether it's on set or in the audition room, I want actors to speak up always. You know, and I really, really appreciate that. You know, you have a voice and you have power, and you need to use it, and it's never going to be used against you. For the most part, hopefully. For the most part. Okay, so going back to Dear White People, what's it like working with Justin Simien? Because he just seems incredible.
He is incredible.
Yeah.
Don't tell him I told you. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant creative. He's a decent human being, non-decent. He's so in tune with, one, the culture, two, authenticity in these characters that he's created on, you know, the film, and then has further explored with the series. And it's, unfortunately, and as I'm sure you know too, there's a lot of showrunners out there who are creators anyway, of the shows, who create a thing and then they push it out there, and they're not on set. They don't care. They're there for the check. And there's a lot of examples of those people, but he is the spine of this show.
I love that.
And he is there all the time, and it makes a difference. And I would follow him to hell.
Oh, wow. I love that. His voice is so, just the dialogue in that show, like I often find myself going back and rewinding to hear it. Like there's so many, the dialogue is incredible, and there's so many amazing lines that you almost miss it, that I always find myself like rewinding and being like, that's an amazing line. You know?
Yes. Yeah. It's layered. Everything is intentional. Every single thing is intentional. And you know, the staff of writers, I mean, it's such a inclusive room from broad backgrounds, and I think that's why the show itself, why it resonates so much with people, because it's so specific, but it's just honest, and it shows. It's
really amazing. So before I kind of go into, we'll talk a little bit more about that. What advice would you have for actors who it's maybe their first time on set? And you might see this a lot, maybe on the show, or in other shows that you've worked on. It's kind of like their first big job, and they're not sure. I think a lot of actors feel not judged, I don't know if that's the right word, but pressure from, you know, it's intimidating to have these people who are like a family, and to like come into that family and try to be part of it and want to impress and be accepted. Like, what do you have any advice that you might give for an actor who's, you know, I know it's kind of a big
advice for that. I mean, I would say just know that you're there for a reason, and don't try to force anything. Do your job and go home. Myself, I do my job and I go home. And with our show, you know, Dear White People, anytime there's a guest cast or anything, I know what that feels like. So I'm always trying to, because otherwise, if you're not having fun, if you're not, you know, supporting a comfortable environment to do your work, you're not going to be able to produce your best work. And just be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be cool. Like, this isn't rocket science. We should be having fun at the end of the day.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I would just say, to that person, and even in myself, I mean, I still, as I continue to work and whatnot, I am nervous all the time.
Really?
All the time.
Wow.
All the time. So I have, I talk myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just know, okay, do my job, go home, be used by the, by the thing, and go home.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was that experience like? What was it like working on the show? What are maybe some of your favorite moments?
Yeah.
Give me all the stuff.
Well, we have one more season left, and whenever Corona will let us go back, that'll be a joy. So I'm glad that in doing the show, I always wanted to know when it would be the last, because we don't get that opportunity to know. So living with this character, I've been living with this character since 2013 when we shot the film.
Yeah.
When we shot that film.
I know. I love that poster. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. Look at that.
So cool.
So living with that character since 2013, one, it's allowed me to explore further into myself, even though I am not Reggie, but I am, a Black man in America who has gone through a lot of the different things that Reggie has gone through, and some things that he has not. So that's been therapeutic for me. And then also to be able to work with this incredible group of people, from Justin all the way down, or not all the way down, but Justin and all the way across. From our actors. We're a family.
Yeah.
We really are a family. We love each other dearly. And they're dope.
Yeah.
So I get to go play.
You guys shoot in LA? Where you shoot? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Sun Valley at Tamarack.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
That's an old fave.
An old fave.
Oh, down in Sun Valley.
Yeah. It's great. Great time.
Awesome. Any memorable moments that kind of stick out to you?
So many.
Let
me see. Let me try to find one. Well, I mean, like I said, there's so many and so many great moments as well. But for whatever reason, the memory that's sticking out to me now is season 1, episode 5, when we were shooting. There's a scene where there's a gun drawn on Reggie. That was tough. And
I can't even imagine what it's like to read that and wow.
No, because I also didn't know it was coming.
I was going to ask you that.
I had no idea it was coming. I was told when we were making our deals that that character was only going to be in 4 episodes of the show.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So we made that deal, and then also wasn't told that the character was going to have an episode from his point of view. So when it did show up, I guess, some people had read it and they were like, I think I was working on the previous episode, because we shoot that whole thing in like 2.5 months. And so everything is pretty tight. So myself, I stay, I just stay present with whatever I'm working with at that time. And then I'll get to it when I get to it. So some of the castmates that hit me up, they were like, yo, have you read episode 5? I was like, no, I'm still working on this. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And then I don't even know. I don't think I read it before the table read, to be honest, because I didn't have time.
Wow.
Yeah. So I saw it and I was like, oh shit. Excuse me.
No.
And at that moment, I was like, oh, it clicked for me that one, this show is not just about entertainment, but this moment is so much bigger than myself, so much bigger than us, so much bigger than the show, as we can see in the current state of the world.
I can't even imagine that. What was it like in the table read?
Quiet. From what I remember, quiet. Because we have some moments, when we're reading these scenes and whatnot, where we're like, oh shit, it's about to go down, because you feel it. It's a frequency when it's like, okay, this is what we signed up for. And on that day, working with Barry Barry Jenkins was director of that episode.
Wow.
We all were affected.
Yeah.
Just as much. There were times we had to take breaks, go outside, take a breath, hug each other, cry, all of those things. So that, was a very difficult experience to get through for all of us.
I can't imagine how that must change you as a person, and just especially with that lens, being in Reggie's position. I mean, I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm still affected by it today. Like, I think of that moment, and sometimes, like, it's literally like PTSD. Even though it wasn't a real gun. I know we were on set, but how I work is very sensory and whatnot. So I can go back there, just like that. Just from something will trigger me, that moment. I was
just gonna say, maybe there might be some people watching who are like, "What is he talking about?" Do you want to give them just like a quick synopsis of? Yeah.
Sure. Season 1, Dear White People, episode 5, from the point of view of the Reggie character. Basically, their characters are out enjoying their Saturday, being Black, young, and free, saying that sometimes just being Black and young and free is an act of activism. So they're like, okay, cool. Reggie, before that, up to that point, kind of my interpretation anyway, he's got this pseudo armor on, playing the game of revolutionary. And then when the shit actually hit the fan, which is the part, he's at a party at a frat house, and a fight breaks out. Reggie gets pushed. He's involved in the fight. Then campus police show up and ask Reggie for his ID. He refuses to give them his ID because we're all students. Everybody's screaming, he's a student. The cop pulls a gun on him and holds him at gunpoint in front of everybody. And, the effects of that transpired. And Reggie goes home and breaks down and all of those things.
But it's it was so poignant. And you did a beautiful job, I just have to say, bringing that character justice, for sure.
Appreciate that. Writers Chuck Hayward and Jack Moore wrote that episode.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
What was it like working with Barry?
Barry's dope. Barry's dope. Barry's dope. He's so. My experience of him in that particular moment was so, not that moment, but the whole episode, very laid back, but also intentional and so focused. And notes that he would give to me would be like abstract, like a little more R&B. I'm like, I know what you mean. I love Barry. He's dope.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's it like when you get a note that maybe doesn't make a lot of sense? Do you kind of just try to interpret it and roll with it, or are you trying to or what's it like when, because especially like you said, you're part of this family, you have a really strong sense of your character, and then a director might come in and say something that doesn't really fall in line with what that character is that you have created. What's it like trying to frame that and voicing your opinion while sounding respectful and
all those things? Yeah, which it's taken me up until these last recent years to be able to do that, because prior to even in the beginning of the show or whatever, prior to those times, I would take a direction, I would try and interpret it. If it didn't make sense, if it didn't fit, I'm like, oh well, I'm just here doing my job anyway, so I'll try to do that.
Right. That's a great way.
Now, I still am always like, how do I fit into the puzzle? But I was hired for a reason, and I have an interpretation. So now it's just a conversation. It's just a matter of, that muscle of communication.
Right.
As with anything.
Yeah.
Like if I don't agree with the particular thing, then I'll express how I feel and we'll talk about it. At the end of the day, if it's not my production, I was hired for the job, and it's my body. So you can't make me do anything at the end of the day.
I mean, they hired Marque, that's That's the thing, right? Is like you're hiring an actor, but you're hiring the person too.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially if you have like a guest director, just on anything who might not know the characters as much as, I'm not talking about Dear White People, but in general, a guest director who might not know the characters as much as, you know, the actor.
Yeah.
You know, I think it should be open communication and all that.
Totally. Communication's a good skill to have.
Sure is. I'm still learning.
Yeah. What's some things that maybe I guess you kind of touched on it, but I was going to say some things that maybe you know now about yourself or your career that you kind of wish you had told yourself earlier on. You know, I'm sure part of that is not being afraid to use your voice more, but is there anything else that you wish you had known earlier on that might have been helpful to you?
Yes. Part of it is not being afraid to use my voice more. I mean, I'm dealing with that as we speak. Still to this day, and being, you know, awakening. I said it the other day, I'm awakening to, you know, my power. Yeah. In the sense of, you know, what we can do in media and representation and things that need to be said, etc. So a large part of it is that, and continuously waking up to, you know, that. Yeah. Also, stand in your ground. Don't be afraid to say no. Say no. Just say no. Yeah. And be strong in your resolve. Yeah. You know, if it's a no, if it's a no. I mean, if it's a no, it's a no. If it's a yes, it's a yes. Yeah. And if you don't know, then don't move. Right. That's really good advice. Yeah. That's really good advice. Just take some extra time to think things through. Think it through. Yeah. Think it through. Yeah. Don't overanalyze, but you know, go with your gut, and you know, you're here for a reason. And even, you know, conversations, whether it be projects or whether it be your representatives, your agents, your managers, and whatnot. A lot of people have different intentions for you. Yes. But you also have to be clear on what your intention is. Yes. And don't be thrown off track by other people's intentions for your life. Yeah. It can be easier said than done, but absolutely, it's important to take a step back and just remember what your priorities are and what's important to you with anything, you know? Yes. Yeah. So what's it like going from sort of, you know, auditioning for everything to now you're popping off on lists everywhere, and we're just now an offer only actor. Do you miss auditioning, or I mean, you can be honest. I still audition. You know, I don't know what the reps say. They say what they say, but I know it depends on the project. Yeah, like I'm still I have it in my head that I will, if there's something that I really want, I will fight for it. I will fight for everything. And I try to keep my ego out of the way. Yeah. So sometimes there are situations where it's like, okay, this should be an offer only. And I let the reps, you know, decide. I love my manager, and Jacob is amazing. And, you know, the team is great. And they decipher, you know, because there's some stuff that I don't see. And I trust their judgment and whatnot. But I tell them all the time, I said, I'm willing to fight for this thing. And I audition all the time. And I hate auditioning. I hate fucking self-tapes. Because it just takes so much time. I know. But, I mean, what am I going to do? You know? I'm I do not miss being in a waiting room, which still happens, but being in a waiting room and hearing like a deal being made for the part that I'm like going in for. I don't miss that. Kind of like when we were doing your deal and we had actors in the waiting room. I'm like screaming at Netflix to make it work, and we have the next actor coming in. Oh my God, I know. Yeah, like that. It's like, it sucks
sucks. It's time, you know, it's like, what if the deal falls through at the 11th hour and then we need an actor? It's a little shitty. But I get it.
Yeah.
So what's that, just to kind of give actors an idea of like, what's that collaboration like with your team? Do they come to you with every sort of inquiry, or do you kind of trust them to make that initial first decision and then they come to you?
Yes, I think it's both. I'm sure they've gotten some things that they were just like, hell no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
No. And then, you know, a lot of times they'll get things and they'll be like, we know it's probably a no, but just wanted you to be aware.
Okay.
So that happens. And then there's time they get things where like, we know this is probably a no, but please look at this.
Okay.
And then there's times, you know, where it's like, we try to, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, we push for offer only or whatever. And then I'm always surprised. I'm like, why y'all do that? Offer only. You know,
Right.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't,
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're like, this is just what it is. I'm like, okay, you know me,
Right.
I'll fight for it. I'm
Right.
a worker.
Right.
You know, I work.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely trust their judgment. And then sometimes I'm like, they'll pass something on to me and I'm like, okay, their job or this particular person's job was just to be like, hey, throw everything. Let me throw everything at you.
I said I did it.
Maybe he'll bite.
Yeah. I told him I'd send it to you. Yeah. That's interesting because, you know, agents tell us all the time, oh, we sent it to him or whatever.
Yeah.
And you never really know because the process or the collaboration is different with every actor. Mm-hmm. So you kind of, to my understanding, make that initial understanding of some actors want to be told about everything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. They want to be told about everything. They want to consider everything. Yeah. Some actors are like, I don't care about story. I care about money. You know?
And food. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, no judgment. It's just, you know, you got to know where your priorities are. And I've come across that a lot where agents say, hey, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I don't care what this is for. If it's not like 20 an episode, it's not happening. And I'm just like, cool, you know? Right. So it's always interesting to hear, you know, actors process with their team and kind of how that works, since it is kind of different. And you do have a lot of power, you know?
Yeah. And it's also interesting, and even for myself, to be like, okay, and not to also get lost in what my intentions are. Like, my reps might fight harder for me on particular points of a deal than I really, you know, than I care for.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, it's, you know, $5, but they're going to give me a po' boy sandwich with it. I'll take it.
That's what I was looking for. I got you a gym membership. I got you a rental car. And I'm just like, I don't know. And they're like, I got you the updated suite, you know, with the double-sized mini fridge. It's like, okay. Sometimes they ask for those things and I just pass them on to transfer. I'm just like, if that's what we're negotiating, I know he's in. I don't care. Like, that's fine. Like, whatever you gotta do, make it happen.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in your, you know, field and all the different requests and you know, because it's so interesting too, because it's like not just twofold, but paying attention just in terms of how my interactions have been with casting, and then on a, you know, as you continue to evolve and continue to work and whatnot, the different, you know, responses that you get if you walk into a room. Now it's like, oh, so glad you're here, as opposed to like barely even looking at you, just eating shrimp while they're trying to read your.
I hear things like that, and I've never seen it, but I believe you. It just sounds so terrible.
I got a whole list of names in the back of my head.
Oh man, I always like to ask actors about either, you know, like a memorable, maybe funny audition experience, or gotten good ones.
Yeah.
You don't have to name names.
I won't name any names. I'll talk trash about myself. There was this one audition years ago. I think it was for a play, and it was right off of the audition was in this house off of Formosa and what's that?
That's kind of strange.
Yeah, it was strange. So that one, that was strange already.
Yeah.
And so they like, come on in, and you're gonna be doing this audition with another actor. So they said use the space.
Okay.
And it was like a living room with a bookshelf, and the scene is heated or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, use the space. And I don't come from theater, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, how do I use the space?
Yeah.
So we're getting into it,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I see a book on the counter, so I pick up the book and I throw it at the other actor. But not, not at their body. I'm like throwing it by them because we're in the scene. I'm like, fuck you, and da-da-da. Didn't hit him, but then they stopped the scene, and the actor's like, can you stop throwing books at me? I was like, yeah, sure. I can do that.
Like, that's my mother's diary. What are you doing? You said use the space.
You said use the space. I'm doing what I can. Many things like that. Many stories like that. Because I'm weird.
Yeah, they're growing pains.
Growing pains.
Yeah.
Growing pains.
What's your favorite part? Is it reading the script for the first time, the table read, seeing it all come together, being on set? What's kind of your most the part of the whole process that you look forward to the most?
The part of the whole process. Are we talking about like even after projects are done, or we're talking about just auditions? Yeah. Okay. I'll say the most rewarding part, I think, of this whole process is because I've been doing this for a long time. I've worked my ass off for an extremely long time, and I put love into every single thing that I do. I try and do my best. Otherwise, why do it? So then, especially with Dear White People, when Netflix tells you that they're going to release a show in 192 or 196 countries, you don't really know what that's like.
Right.
You don't know what that means until it happens.
Right.
And then, especially with this content, to get the love back has been the most rewarding experience. And then that's also a seed for me to keep going. And then that also not dictates, but why am I going blank on this word? Influences the things I continue to do from this point on.
I love that.
Yeah. Because for myself, it's a part of me and what I'm up to and what my intention is. And different strokes for different folks. Different strokes. I ain't got, I have to get clear on that as well. Like there are people in this business who are in the business of selling smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not my business model.
Right.
But that's okay for them. I used to get really mad about that. Seeing someone say this, that in the media and knowing what they are or who, behind the scenes. Knowing what they're up to behind the scenes. And that used to piss me off. Still pisses me off, but less. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
So then what's next for you?
Surviving.
Well, you have a movie coming out soon, right?
Yes. Well, I guess depends on what Corona says, but this film, they say theaters. I'm not going to the theaters.
I mean, the theaters are open apparently right now.
Apparently. Excuse me. I'm not going to the theater.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing that on nobody.
But I don't even go to like Target for the most part, so.
No, you won't catch me at Target.
Yep.
Nope. No Ralph's, no everything is delivery.
Yeah, definitely no Walmart, that's for sure.
No Walmart.
Only bad things come out of Walmart. Sorry. I just lost 10 followers because of that. That's cool.
Walmart, we love Walmart. Oh man.
That must have been amazing too. What was that experience like?
That was fun. I mean, again, New Orleans, I'm there.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was fun. That was an interesting experience where casting did not want to see me. Okay. Casting refused to see me for that. And I got a call from Janelle like, hey, there's this project, you know, that I'm up to. I want to know if you're interested and all those things. So she's the one who fought for me for that. And then I had the meeting with the directors and whatnot, because it's 2 directors.
Yeah.
But casting refused.
Is there any reason behind that? You don't know. We won't name names. We won't speculate. Because the down rat crazy. That's what I say. Wow. See, it just shows. I mean, you fight for what you believe in.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. What was it like with 2 directors?
That was also interesting,
Yeah.
because I've never experienced that before. But
Yeah.
they have such a system amongst themselves. Like one of the directors, I think, was more focused on the writing of it, and then
Gotcha.
the other was, you know, more focused on directing.
Gotcha.
But I know, you know, they work so well together. It didn't feel like a situation, because sometimes, you know, well, I can't speak for everybody. Sometimes I'll be on a set and you'll have the director, and then you'll have or not you. I had some producers or whatever coming over and also trying to give notes. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. You tell that to the director. I don't think that would
work for most people.
No.
Usually, that's interesting. I always thought it was, you know, the network kind of like sneaks in there and they're like, you know. But I always thought it was more like they talk to the director, not the actors.
That's how it,
wow.
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You know, and is. That might have just been that particular project, but I don't work well like that.
I don't think most people would.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't. I mean, if they came into my casting room and they were just like, so why did you choose? I'd be like, get out of here, you know?
Get out of here. Get out of here.
It's a lot of people on the pot, especially with TV. It can be difficult. I mean, it's difficult for us. Yeah. So many people have to weigh in, and then sometimes their reasoning makes no sense.
No sense.
Yeah.
And they have no credentials to do so.
Nope.
Like, what are you talking? Like,
nope.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So
strange.
That's why there are preferred, you know, there are some, I would say, preferred networks and platforms that, you know, you've got yourself some good ones, I would say.
Yes. And I would, with that, there's bullshit everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
That's what
we got to weed it out as much as we possibly can, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We only have a few minutes left. I don't want it to cut us off.
No.
This is so fun. I know. Did you finish your smoothie?
No, I got like a 4th left.
All right,
this is my breakfast.
All right. I got to get on that. Get on the train. We're up to $226. I just want to say thank you for everyone. You guys are awesome. So I guess I'll just leave it with anything that might be on your heart and mind that, you know, you want to chat about, or anything, any kind of like last remarks, anything else you would, you know, chat about.
Last remarks. Anything on my mind? Well, I guess.
A very broad question, I know.
A very, very broad. But, you know, I mean, I look at my life as a class, and there's lessons all over the place. Lessons all over the place. Yeah. And so I think what I lightly touched on in the kind of towards the beginning of the conversation, for me right now, what I'm awakening to, or one of the lessons that I'm awakening to right now, is my power. And not the power in the sense of, you know, an ego thing. Not a pat my back, oh, I got power, I'm power. But the influence and a voice, and to own it, and to use it for the benefit of the people. There are so many things to do. So all of us, everybody on here, I would pitch that you go inside yourself, be still, find something for you to do. You are powerful. You have a voice, and just do it. pay it forward. It's our now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that you are wanted, and that's where that power comes in. I mean, that's the thing is people want to hire you. And I think
they don't act like it.
But they don't act like it, but they do, you know, and if they want, you are an asset, you know, and you bring something important to the table, and they will, and you have to stand your ground because they will do what it takes to get you, because you are an asset and you add value, you know. So that's just, luckily you have a great team who I think believes that also.
I do too. Yeah, finally. It took some years to get this team.
Yeah. But hard work and keeping on your focus, you know. I think those are all just really, really great nuggets of advice. Sometimes Instagram cuts us off early, so that's such an awesome place to end. And I don't want it to cut you off. So thank you so much for doing this. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
I'm like one of your biggest fans. Thank you so much again. And $326 for the Bail Project. So that's awesome. That, you know, it's like I said again, if you want to donate after this, you can just click go on their handle on Instagram and see what they're about.
I'd be blanking on words. This chat, you're using your voice, your platform to one, have these conversations, but also do the work. I'm gonna make a donation too after I guess.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you. I always do.
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So good to see you.
So good to see you.
Take care. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Keep drinking those smoothies.
I'll send you the recipe.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.